Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany, starting in 1935. This is 1940, and we are halfway through, and we are concentrating on how to deliver our second improvement program. So if you remember, we started with nearly nothing. We developed a first program. We are halfway through developing a second program, and we've been joined by wonderful allies, Japan and Italy, because that's always gone well in the past. They do actually bring a lot to the party, but they also probably bring the risk of war as well. Looking at the almanac, we've seen that other navies are now heavily investing in aircraft carriers, so we probably need to up that as well. Let's just take a quick look. So, yeah, America in particular with 6 and a 7th building and 8 light carriers, and Britain with 5 and 2 building and 8 light carriers as well, makes R2 look a little bit on the light side. So once my finances have recovered a little bit more, I am going to up our carrier construction substantially. I think in all other respects, I'm pretty pleased with how the fleet is shaping up. And so let's move into September, and improvements in productivity is helping as well. That's pushed us up another 5,000 or so in the yearly budget. Our new docks have been completed, which is nice, and the Berlin. So this has been an endemic difficulty with the Germans, and I don't know, because I'm playing with considerable variation. This may be one of those features. I don't remember the Germans suffering with this quite as much, but I'm clearly just going to have to design all of my ships to have an extra knot speed, because, yeah, that's a bit disappointing. Okay, some very nice uh, breakthroughs, which is lovely. And other than that, not much more in the news. So yeah, here's the Berlin. It makes 31 knots. Its design speed was 32. Oh hum. So let's have a look here. Do we get a second Peterstrasse on the docks? Is there anything much we can do? So we've got a fair bit of weight remaining. Let's see if I can put that to any constructive use. So the short answer is no. There is nothing I can realistically do with this class to increase it without creating an entirely new class. Even though 263 tons, we could have one more aircraft, but I'm not really particularly fussed for that. So I'm just going to build ship and bring up another one of these. Oh, running out of names. Do I like Europa? Let's go instead with Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron. It's like a nice aircraft carrier kind of name. Okay, so 31 months for that, 19 months for the Peterstrasse. So let's push on. Tensions all super low except for slight irritation from the USA. 16-inch quality 0 guns. I need to check on the Graf Spee, and an improved Messerschmitt 125 dive bomber. I had to look very carefully for that. The improvement is that firepower has gone from 2 to 3. Okay. And a naval patrol as a private venture. Well, it is, a bit faster, but more importantly, has more range, and more range when in medium and heavy. I'm developing one of these in 5 months' time, but this takes the firepower up to 10. I think maneuverability 1, it's essentially a brick, but toughness 17. So, Yes, I think we will have that one, and then we can compare the one that we are developing and see if that's any help to anybody. Whoops, I forgot to build the docks, because if we go to the almanac, we will see that Britain has a dock of 61,000, so we're well behind France 60, Italy 60, Soviet Union 57, 65 for Italy, 60 for America, 51 and 52. So we're at the level of China and Spain on our dock side, which is a bit embarrassing in all truth. Revolution, stranding our citizens. Well, of course, we're going to send a strong squadron to bombard the capital until our citizens are released. Prestige +1, budget +1, tension +2. That's our kind of diplomatic event. The Japanese have sorted out their rebellion. Very light in news. The Russians have commissioned their first CV. Oh, I've forgotten to assign the Berlin to a division. So let's put it into division number 1. Pick up their numbers. Okay. More funding. That's always not actually, yes. Only -36, so where that takes us up to on our monthly balance. Say no to increasing the size of planes. Yeah, so a nice couple of thousand more to spend wisely. I'm tempted by more destroyers, but I probably should look at the Z61s and see if there's much more that we can do. So these would cost 600 a month for 16 months. If I wanted to boost the speed up to 35, down 99 tons, and then again we get into this weird increasing it by 700 tons to make up that 99 tons, and we still can't make it. I assume we can't go over 3,000. Oh, yes, we can. Oh, look at this. It just is not allowing us to build a 35 knot ship, which, is ridiculous. But there you go. I think the only thing I could do is I could give the ship some mines and reduce its reserve buoyancy, which is nice, but it's not really essential. So I'm minded to just build a couple more Z61s as they are at present, and actually build. That's too many. Build 3 more. So 1800 when we have 2100 to spare. So yeah, so that's pushing out our destroyers to a respectable number, because we are down on our destroyers compared to other nations. So medium bomber 223, and our medium bombers are 291. So look at that range as well, over 1,000 in light. Still no torpedoes. Shame. Or missiles, but we have missile technology on high. Quite a bit of scrapping from Japan, from old destroyers. Let's just see where we are in terms of naval strength. So you can see we in Northern Europe are the strongest. Hooray! Followed by Britain and then France. Obviously, that could all so easily change. But nice to know we have sort of notional local superiority. Just noticing the Königsberg in Greece and wondering about a little Greek squadron and what that would look like. Right, so the invitation to get a colony in the Caribbean. I mean, it's obviously tempting, particularly if we're going to go to war with America. It probably would be a hostage to American amphibious operations unless we invested a great deal in the Dominican Republic as a naval base. We probably would struggle to put any serious fleet into the Caribbean. On the other hand, it would make the Americans and the British very cross. Tempting. With only one first generation carrier, I'm going to say no to that at that moment. But yeah, very tempting. Strange, the Japanese haven't asked us for technology, although in fairness they do. They are very advanced themselves. Oh yeah, let's look at the Graf Spey. Open the design. Oh, we already have 16-inch quality guns, thanks to our it being built in Japan. Ah, so weight saving has come along quite a bit since the Graf Spey was originally designed. I think the main thing, if we were to build a second Graf Spey, would be to increase the rounds per gun from the anemic 85 up to something a little bit better, and also to obviously improve the AA defense a bit. Still, at least we don't have to send the Graf Spey into dockyard hands to improve its 16-inch guns. Obviously, that was a very much. That was a very wise investment to build it in Japan in the first place. And oops, I've not noticed that we are actually into 1941 already. So we better have a little look at the previous year. By all means, if you'd like to buy some stuff. And oh, two-phase search, always interesting. And here's our new patrol aircraft. And the big disappointment is that none of them can handle torpedoes. And in fact, these are all inferior to the privately developed Rado. So we will keep with that and cancel. Okay, let's have a little look at the year end for 1940. No new designs or planes, but then 1939 was a bumper time, and we've already started in the new year to increase that. The Berlin and 9 destroyers built, and the Lutzow refitted. The big news in the diplomatic front, obviously, is the new alliance with Japan and the extension of our Italian alliance, allowing things to, bumble along reasonably well in terms of tensions. And woohoo, look at this in terms of putting our finances onto an even keel, although obviously it really helps to have a 69,000 lift in your annual budget, but our monthly fund reserve has increased. Our construction has gone back to 21,000, and we've had a pretty good year for techs at 10 extra ones, although sadly no missiles just yet. Let's go back to here, and you can see the finances have increased even further from the 433 that they were at the beginning of this year. Right, into June. Great Britain has granted independence. So we are at the beginning of the decline of empire. Certainly, the amount of money or the increases of money that you'd get from empire will also start to decline. So the value, economic value of having an empire will decline. and gradually more and more colonies will achieve independence. But well done, Bismarck Archipelago. And a new research, a setback, and another good research. Armor piercing bombs. Ouch. And a new fighter. So it's generally a good improvement. Increased speed, slight downscale of range, but only by a tiny amount. Better firepower, better maneuverability, much tougher. Slightly less bomb load, but I don't really mind for the bomb load, so I'm going to say yes to this new Blumenboss. And rest bits of commissioning and stuff. And let's carry on into May. Oof. I'm being very generous, very, very generous with all this money, and our funds have increased, which is nice. Kind of enjoying. I'm tempted to get another Peterstrasse class carrier onto the slipway. Would we like the rights for super? Well, yes, we would. Let's share tech between each other. And forward firing ASW mortar, which is nice. Temporary setback. I guess we should just check again whether there's very much we can do to a Peterstrasse class. Weight remaining just gone up ever so slightly. But still, we could just fit in 2 extra aircraft. I'm not convinced that that's worth it. I think people neglect the value of having weight remaining in terms of buoyancy and damage control of the ships, and also future proofing. So soon, missiles will come. So we might want some space for some of them. So I'm not bothered with that. So let's build a ship. And let's build a new Peterstrasse. I thought we would celebrate August von Passivhael. He was the designer of the other sort of airship, semi-rigid airships, if you want to get technical, rather than the fully rigid Zeppelins. But yeah, that seems quite nice. I'm liking that. And let's go into June. just just when you shell out a heck of a lot of money on a new Peterstrasse, they say, well, would you like one 10% cheaper? Oh, yes. Let's push the boat out. And yeah, let's call it Seydlitz, which would have been uh, Germany's 3rd aircraft carrier. So yeah, it's going to hurt the finances, particularly when there's going to be a slump in the economy. So obviously, I'm going to claim that any further cuts are completely unacceptable. The budget will go down, but my prestige will increase, which is nice. I don't really have to do poor relief or anything like that. The unrest levels are trivial, and I don't have to consider social reforms, which would also damage our prestige, because we can live with whatever unrest. I mean, unless it like jumps up to 6 or something, but yeah, we can go with that. Radar assisted gunnery. Very nice. No to all the air bases. Well, I didn't intend to have 4 aircraft carriers simultaneously under construction, but I think that now makes us into a bit more of a player if we have a little look at the almanac. So yeah, the almanac is always quite difficult to read, so let's do this instead. So over here we have aircraft carriers, and over here we have fast battleships and battle cruisers. I'm generously saying 25 knots. In the aircraft carriers, I've included light carriers as 1/3 of an aircraft carrier. The blue is what's in commission now, and the orange is what's being built. So in aircraft carriers, you can see that Germany, Italy, and Japan Although making a fair go of it and not a gazillion miles behind, are still substantially behind the USA, Britain, and France, but they have a much more active building program, which, when complete, if you combine Germany and Italy, that will give us the same number of carriers probably as the USA and Britain. Over in the fast battleships and battle cruisers, you can see that Britain, the USA, and France all combined substantially lead Germany, Italy, and Japan. Um, Curiously, Japan has not got much of an emphasis on battleships and battle cruisers. They've obviously spent all of their money on aircraft carriers, which, fair enough. That does put things in perspective. Obviously, I'm assuming that Britain, France, and the USA will combine in a war against Germany, Italy, and Japan, but that's not necessarily the case. That's where we are up to at the moment. And for amusement's sake, you may be interested to know that the monster battleship goes to China, of all people, with their Ting Yuan. 11 17-inch guns. No one else has built anything comparable to this. 63,500 ton beast. The next nearest is an American that comes in at, oh yeah, here we go, 51. But we don't know. And all the rest are kind of in the 40s. So yeah, okay. That's where we are up to with that. And let's go on. It gives me a little bit more confidence to be a bit braver, although the whole thing of bringing in the Dominican Republic and expanding into the Caribbean did seem a bit overambitious. Welcome the Von der Tam into the Navy, so that's great. And another discovery, and our new patrol aircraft entering service. The Von der Tam did make its design speed of 30, which is nice. So comparable to the Graf Spee and the Graf Stauffenberg, but not for the Reichsgraf or indeed the Graf Zeppelin. Hey ho. And that's taken our monthly balance back into the positive. So buying that fourth Peter Strasser class carrier has paid off. And are we interested? No, we're not interested in that. And let's just take this to the end of 1941, I think, unless something devastating is going to happen. Details of an Italian dive bomber, meh. More anti-aircraft research, which we love. An improved model of our already very good float plane. It's one of these slightly more firepower. Yeah. Okay. Rebellion in a British possession. So this is something we're probably going to see more. Our above average captain, but with poor admin, which is not a good thing, is promoted to rear admiral and placed in command of the heavy cruisers that are part of the screen for aircraft carriers, which does call into question whether we probably also, we're going a bit top heavy with all these carriers. We probably need some more cruisers, etc. We will look at that shortly. Uber. Independence for Ireland. Be pleased with that. A little bit late, obviously. And our dockyards have been complete, and the Von der Tan has finished working up. Considering we're not actually spending anything on spying except for a residual amount of spying on the Soviet Union, we are getting a lot of good intelligence coming along for no obvious reason. We probably should tone down our spying, increase our spying against Britain, France, and America. Just at a low level, just friendly. And increase our shipbuilding again, 54,000 now. Not that I ever particularly love monster battleships or indeed carriers, but having the option, I think is fair enough. I do have good allies, obviously. And there's Berlin's sister ship and a destroyer entering service too, which is great. Still nothing on missions. So, naval suggests that we can ship some arms to rebels in Kenya. Yes, it's always a good idea. I mean, Britain, they're not going to bother, are they? I mean, I'll never find out. They're only at 8. It's nothing to worry about. Okay, so that's given us a bit of spare cash. So, destroyers are doing fine. We've got 5 under construction. That will take us to, I think, 39. Could be more, could always be more, but that's fine. Worried with these light cruisers. I mean, we've got these 4 Stuttgart classes, only 4,000 tons, which is, bobbins, absolute rubbish. We've got the Bremens, which are, all right, but, they're First World War era. We have the Hamburg, which is a 1925. We have the München, the Leipzig from the München class, which is 1927. And then we have 2 modern ones. So let's just see if we can do anything else with the Berlin class. 21 tons remaining, so that'll be no. I mean, yeah, it's a good solid class. 47 heavy AA. I mean, what's not to love? So let's get in train another of the Berlin class. Oof, plenty to choose from. Let's go for Breslau, near to where my father was born. Well, he was on the other side of the border. Yep, that's good. Into December. And another destroyer commissioned. Fleet train to improve logistics and invasion and increase radar range. So yeah, that's really coming along very, very well. And yeah, here we are in December. So pretty happy with that. Bit concerned with the Mediterranean that our presence is super token, and whether that will need any kind of addressing. But otherwise, pretty pleased. We'll start the next episode with a review of 1941 and launch into 1942. Thanks for watching. See you next time.